And the hardest game to win is the game you're supposed to win.
On today's Odd Coaches podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis review the NBA Finals, USA Basketball's recent struggles as they head into the Olympics, as well as recapping all the new NBA coaching hires. Welcome to today's show. Dr. Keith Adams is the president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. He is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college levels. He has won numerous championships and epitomizes professionalism. Coach Mike Franchise Francis is one of the most successful football and basketball coaches in the state of Maryland. He too is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college level and is self-admittedly a little rough around the edges. Both men have mentored countless student athletes, teachers, and coaches using their unique methods and approaches to leadership. Both men also share a unique and special friendship that was cultivated often through their unique perspective of life and leadership. Dr. Adams through his extensive educational background and Coach Francis through his life experiences. Can these two men share a podcast without driving each other crazy? Welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. My name is Dr. Keith Adams, founder and president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. And with me always is my tag team partner, my Ray Stevens to my Nick Bockwinkel, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And as always, it is indeed a pleasure to see you, sir. What's going on?
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to see you. Thanks for having me. But the Nick Bockwinkel, though, like I ain't heard that name in at least 25, 30 years.
I love Nick Bockwinkel because his promos were on such an intellectual verbal tip. So you had Bobby Heenan doing the back and forth, but Bockwinkel never screamed, never yelled, had the suits. And then years later, Jericho started kind of doing Bockwinkel-isms, and Nick Aldis, the current NWA World Champion, is very classy. Sometimes you just need a classy promo. Meanwhile, Ray Stevens, very similar to you.
Yeah.
Let's just say Ray had a good time.
Let's get it
every
done.
time.
Yeah, let's party. Let's go.
Ray had a good time every time.
Work hard, play harder.
And on today's show, man, we are all NBA all the time. We'll be talking about the NBA Finals. We'll be talking about Team USA basketball. And is this a Chicken Little situation? Is the sky falling? As well as reviewing the NBA coaching hires. So let's jump in it. There is an old adage that says a playoff series does not begin until the home team loses, and shut my mouth and call me cornpone. The home team lost, and now the Milwaukee Bucks are up 3-2 with a chance to win their first NBA title since a dude named Al Cinder played on their team.
Yes.
Coach, what are you thinking about, sir?
I'll start with the end of last night, then get into why I feel it's this way. The end of last night, I did not like the Suns' body language leaving the court, and I did not like the Bucks. Well, I mean, the Bucks' body language was like they already won the series. The Suns looked dismayed, as well as I thought they played through most of the game, and they still couldn't hold them off. That's a telling sign. That's not good. That's not good. I feel like the Bucks they just out-toughed them, if you can, out-toughed them. They were more physical. They were more aggressive. There was that one possession when Portis had 3 offensive rebounds and then got the and one, like somebody boxed him out. You talk about the strip from Drew Holiday at the end, which led to the lob for the and one. And then even before that, going back to earlier, he stripped the backup point guard, came down the court, lulled him to sleep, and then buried a 3 in his face. Like, ultimate confidence. The confidence level on the Bucks last night was so high, it's just hard for me to believe that the Suns are even be able to match that now. It's tough. And what did you see in it?
Well, I'm going back to our attempt at Instagram Live, which was entertainment at its finest.
Yes.
And what I was screaming was go inside out, not outside in. Have everything go through the post, get post touches, get paint touches, get shots close. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up things for everyone else. And I thought the last 3 games in a row, the Bucks made a concerted effort to get high percentage shots.
Yeah.
And they stuck with their game plan. I had one of my Billy Packer moments last night. A good friend of the show, Mike Pokey Evans, shot me a text when it was 37-22 and said, the Bucks better get going. And I said, I'm about to get going because I ain't going to watch this game because it doesn't look like they feel like playing tonight. And I kept the game on. Obviously, I'm a coach, but they kept staying with their team. And as I said to you before, I thought one to the end of the bench, the Bucks were more talented, but I thought Monty was a better coach. But when the Bucks are actually playing, man, they're tough. They're just dogs. They get second shots. They get third shots. They're getting strips from good ball handlers. These are not guys that don't know how to handle the ball. And did you see the crowd out there in the Deer District or whatever? So as I'm looking at it going into game 6, you got tough. The home, you got the crowd, you got the chance to win. And that's why I believe Phoenix is going to win and there's going to be a game 7 because I looked at their body language too. I know their head coach and they're going to bring something. And the hardest game to win is the game you're supposed to win.
Yes.
So I am really, really excited about that opportunity. Any additional thoughts before we move forward, sir?
No, just other than the fact that if Drew Holiday and those guys who, like you said, not the so-called stars, but if they continue to play like they did last night, Phoenix don't stand a chance. Because Phoenix don't have those dogs. They don't got the dogs, man. Drew Holiday showed last night, and we both know guard play gets it. It's guard play from top to bottom. And last night, the guards from Milwaukee were much better than Phoenix guards for most of the game. Chris Paul, they almost made him a non-factor by getting physical and moving. And like in game 1, I was wondering why they were guarding full court the whole time. Now I see what they were doing in game 1 was to get to game 4 and 5, be physical. And he looked a little tired to me last night. That's just my opinion. So.
Yeah, my last thoughts on the playoff series was I complained loudly to make that old man play. I said, how come you're not running them off screens? How come you're not forcing him to exert energy on both ends? I thought games 1 and 2, he ran around and he was able to do whatever. And since then, those turnovers at the end of the game look like fatigue turnovers because Chris Paul didn't become dumb overnight. I just think he's tired, and I think the game plan that the Bucks are using is sound. And I've always thought for this series, they were the most talented team. And I think they'll close it out in a game 7, though, because I do have Phoenix winning in game 6. And with that, we'll be back right after these messages.
The vision of the CKA SAVE project is to use the combination of academics and athletics as a catalyst to lifelong success. Thus, the CKA SAVE project works to improve student-athlete academic and athletic performance by assisting student-athletes with transitional and transferable skills such as time management and organizational skills, along with the ability to self-advocate to help improve performance. However, we cannot do our work without the help of supporters like you. Consider donating to the CKA SAVE project. We accept tax-deductible contributions in a number of ways, including Venmo and Cash App at CKA SAVE Project, or directly at the main page of our website, www.ckasaveproject.org. Simply click the donate button. We thank you in advance for your continued support.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. And in this segment, We are going to wave the flag, and to quote the late, great Prince Rogers Nelson, aristocrats on a mountain climb, making money, losing time. So Team USA took 2 L's this past week in exhibition games. So there are 2 sides of the fence that I've heard since those games. The side of the fence that says, oh, these are just exhibition games. They've just finished the season. Once we get to Tokyo, we're going to be ready. We're not at full strength. Let us get back Devin Booker. Let us get back all of these people, and then we're going to make it. Then on the other hand, they were the school of thought that said, I don't care who's not there. You're not losing these games because you're Team USA and you got Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant, et cetera, et cetera. Coach Franchise, where are you on the fence? Which side of the fence I say you're on with Team USA as they get ready for the Tokyo Olympics?
I have one question for you. Did you look at the roster?
I have seen the roster, sir.
So it's self-explanatory why they're losing. Okay. To me, it's not a typical Team USA roster. This isn't our best team. And yes, I'll take Katie, I'll take Draymond, I'll take Dame Lillard, and they can play any year. But some of these guys, I wonder if they can even be on this team if it wasn't for the other guys who were playing, and it's a reason. Let's be honest. Like, if LeBron plays, does Jamari Grant play?
No, sir.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you look at these guys, like, I don't even give you Kevin Love no more. I would have given you Kevin Love 5 years ago. I can't give you Kevin Love.
Remember, Kevin's not there anymore, and he's replaced, I think, by JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee is replacing Kevin Love, and Keldon Johnson is replacing Bradley Beal. And we're wondering why we're losing. Like, I'm serious. Like, Booker isn't there. Drew Holiday isn't there. Chris Middleton isn't there. Yes, I grant it, but if this is the best we have to offer, then we're not going to win. I'm just going to be honest. We're not going to win. Zach LaVine, okay. These guys are great role players, and these guys do that next tier of players, true. But when you got a team that comes in who has 5 NBA players on it, like we do now, it's totally different. You know, that's different. And they got an NBA coach in Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, things change a little bit. So I just think our roster is not a typical Olympic team roster. Thus, you see the struggles.
Well, Coach Pop is still Coach Pop, and you still have that roster. And I am on the side that says I don't care about anything you just said. You're not losing those 2 games, okay? With that being said, for FIBA basketball, which is different, floor is spaced out. There's just some things. The 3-point line is shorter. The ball's different. I just don't think in terms of roster development that we picked a good international kind of roster. I don't think our bigs are international style kind of bigs. I think everything is kind of outside in instead of inside out, as I'd mentioned in a previous segment. Although I am not Chicken Little and the sky is not falling, the world is better. The NBA is flooded with international players. There is no awe factor. Part of the reason why the Dream Team was just that, the Dream Team, and in '92, I'm 20 years old. And I'm fresh off my, whatever career I had, and you had Jordan and Pippen and Bird, and the international teams are taking pictures before the game, and you're shaking hands. And I remember Charles Barkley in Angola, and then I remember Dream Team 2. And it just didn't have the same cachet, but they were winning. And then you just kept seeing, man, something's not right, because the youth teams were not doing as well.
Mm.
And you know, as a program developer, myself as a program developer, talent evaluator, you're just starting to see, something's not right. And then we start making up teams at the stoplight. A joke that I used to tell as a resource teacher was, you could tell when you had a bad teaching days because when you did your lesson plan at the stoplight on the way to work, you didn't plan, and then you're wondering why the kids aren't there, and oh my goodness, man, this is the worst day. Well, the worst day, most mistakes are self-created.
Yes.
So as we continue to grow basketball and have the basketball league in Africa and have all of the Lucas come in and has dominated the league and so forth, we have to reevaluate how we're training and assessing and how USA basketball works. And I like the hire of Grant Hill. I like some of the moves that they're making, but these teams play more together than we do.
Yes.
And I know COVID is a good excuse for a lot of things, and the calendar's off, and they would have had more time together. But this is what we're playing in, and this is how we have to deal with it. So we have the issue of there's no guarantee we're going to win the gold this year, and there is how are we training in the pipeline? How are we doing this? And is Grant Hill going to get the buy-in that the previous generations, the Kobe's, the LeBrons, they bought in? And you saw the result. So that should be interesting. Any additional thoughts, sir?
That's about it. I agree with you on the level. The biggest thing is they play together more than we do. We put it together like not last minute because we do get the list, but the time it takes to gel and things like that, those guys have been playing together much longer than us. And our expansion is now showing like what we've done to expand the game of basketball without borders, everything we're doing, Nike all over the world is just now, we have created the problem. So now how do we invest in ourselves, in our country, to make it to where we're supreme again?
Shout out to Nigeria, though. Fowler and Campbell, who played for me, Shea Aluko, Shea Oyanuga, the list goes on. I've got much love and respect for the green and white. And that's how we will end this segment. We'll be right back after a short break.
Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project, is releasing a book this fall called Finding the Balance: My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. The goal of this book is to give greater insight into student-athlete motivation to improve student-athlete academic and athletic success through the lens of Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic journey, from being an underperforming student-athlete to an academic and athletic leader. This book is also designed to be a guide for student-athletes, parents, teachers, coaches, administrators, and anyone else who has a passion to help student-athletes succeed academically and athletically. You can pre-order your copy of the book directly from our website at www.ckasaveproject.org. This book is scheduled for release in the fall of 2021.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And on this segment, we will talk about the recent NBA coaching hires. And let's take a look. We're just going to go in alpha order. The Atlanta Hawks. And I'm going to give you all of the list first, sir. I'm going to give you who got hired and where they came from, and then allow you the opportunity to react. The Atlanta Hawks hired Nate McMillan, and Nate was an internal candidate. The Boston Celtics hire Ime Udoka, who came from the 76ers. The Dallas Mavericks hired Jason Kidd from the Lakers. Indiana, and we joked about this in a previous show, hired Rick Carlisle from Dallas, but he may as well have been from Indiana. The New Orleans Pelicans hired Willie Green from the Phoenix Suns, although that is not formally official. It looks like it's all over but the shouting, as we said in church. The Orlando Magic hired Jamal Mosley from the Dallas Mavericks. Again, two cats from the Dallas Mavericks. I didn't know they won that much. Portland Trailblazers hired Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups from the Clippers. And our local team, the Washington Wizards, hired Wes Unseld Jr. from the Denver Nuggets. Now, we're not going to go through all of these hires during this segment, but what are you thinking about, Coach Francis, as you see these hires coming in?
The last one I was trying to avoid, I didn't want to see happen. I just when you're a mom and pop, you're gonna stay mom and pop when you make bad decisions. You can't wonder why you don't win championships when you just make poor decisions. And I'm speaking of the Wizards, but that's all I want to say about that hire. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Atlanta, I think Atlanta it would have been a big mistake not to have Nate McMillan. You're talking about 14-20 before he was named interim coach, and then 27-11, jumping to a number 5 seed and taking them as far as he did. Those players believe in him. They have his back. They respect him. They respect what he's trying to do. And if you're serious about competing, Atlanta, you had to make that hire. You had to make that hire. Jason Kidd, we talked about, we talked about that before in the previous episode. I think it was a good hire. I think Jason Kidd's he's gonna be better this time. Let's put it that way, because we all learn a little something. We all learn, if we self-reflect, we always come back better than what we were. Especially when you're a coach, you're always evaluating yourself. You take every loss personal, so you look at it: what bad season? What could I have done better? I think with him returning to the Mavericks, it's going to be good. I will say I hope that Tony Braxton doesn't go down there, but that's another story. And Willie Green, if it's found to be, if it's found to be true, Willie Green getting hired, with the Pelicans, I don't know if this is a move to keep the young man down there. I think
Zion.
I think maybe he has a relationship with Zion that no one else does, and I think that's part of this hiring, in my opinion. And if you Willie, you do what you got to do, and if you Zion, if he feels comfortable with that, that's where it is. How do you feel about the NBA coaching hire?
Well, I'm going to start with my main man, Willie Green, and I think you actually have something there. Zion is going into his 3rd year. Willie Green is in his mid to late 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So he can better relate, I think, to Zion and some of the younger talents than maybe a Stan Van Gundy. Maybe I would have gone in a younger direction myself if I was New Orleans. I do like the fact that so many first-time guys have gotten a job. I will talk a little bit about the Wes Unseld Jr. hire because it is the local team to our general area. And I will say, one, this is going to be extremely challenging because his dad is the dadgum organization. He is the greatest player ever in the history of the organization.
Yes.
Okay. So that's already a challenge. 2, he has a 4-year contract. And as somebody who studied leadership for 6 years in depth, that's a funky number 4 contract.
Oh my God, is it?
3, he's got some high salaries that may or may not still be here. Do we invest in Russell Westbrook? Do you invest in Bradley Beal? And I want to ask you a question, and this is a shoot. Are the Wizards in the next 2 to 3 years going to be better than Brooklyn, in your opinion? In the next 2 to 3 years, the answer is either yes or no. And your laugh says no. Are the Wizards in the next 2 to 3 years going to be better than Milwaukee? The answer is no. So that goes the top 2. So we battled as a team to make it to the postseason in the 7 to 10 slot.
Yes.
So more likely than not, battling to get in the playoffs is going to get you maybe 8, maybe the 7th seed, maybe the 8th seed, which means you're going to play Milwaukee or Brooklyn, and it's a first-round loss, which is what Wes Unseld Sr. went through for 17 or however many years he was there. So when are you going to break through and be a 5 or 4 seed and compete for a chance to win? So I don't know if he's going to have what he needs in a 4-year contract to build that to something more than, as my good friend once said, typical Wizards. So that's kind of where I am. I'm looking at Boston. That's a unique hire. because again, it's a younger guy. Maybe can relate a little better to Jason Tatum than Brad Stevens, maybe. But Brad Stevens, again, didn't get dumb overnight. He is a basketball savant, and maybe he can put the roster together as the GM because all of those picks and stuff are gone now, and you've got talent. But then again, we just saw Team USA with said Jason Tatum lose twice in the same week. The last one I really want to dig into because Atlanta, this was their year, and now they're going to be between 4 and 6 for the next 5 or 6 years in terms of seeding, and they're never going to make it that far again. So they're going to be irrelevant immediately. So that's why I'm not going to waste time on it. I am curious about Chauncey Billups because again, is Chauncey going to have what he needs? If I'm Portland and I'm Chauncey, I'm gutting the fish now. Dame Lillard's 31. He has done a yofull job. He has been wonderful for us. Dame time, ESPN commercials, whatever. But you are no closer in the next year or two to winning anything than I am to getting an NBA head coaching job. So if I'm Chauncey, I'm like, let me rebuild this in my own image. They have a new GM. So if I'm them, let's just, I'm not saying Philly it and totally gut the system like Philly just did, but you do have to get assets. I like a potential trade of Dame to Golden State and getting some of those young assets, Wiseman, and some lottery picks. Something like that is kind of the direction that I would go in because the NBA is going to shift in about 1 to 2 years because this old guard's going to go out, and then you're going to have a prime opportunity to add pieces. Any other thoughts before we close this out, sir?
Question. Just some like recent news. Dame requested a trade, huh?
He said he didn't, but if I'm his agent, I'm like, it's time to go, baby. I mean, what else is there for you to do? Okay. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different response. They're not going to win in Portland. But I applaud your loyalty and all of that. But Dame, Clay, Steph, Draymond, and another starter coming in, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. I think that'd be good. Dame, LeBron, and AD, and 2 guys named Mo. Let's go get it. Or same thing on the Clippers. Again, those teams are playing for right now. I'm going to say Apollo, there is no tomorrow. Yeah. There is no tomorrow. This is today.
Yeah, long gone are the days where you draft a guy, you keep him in the program 6 or 7 years, he develops, the other guy retires, he comes. Nah, that's dead. That is dead. That's old school. That's old school. What can you do tomorrow? How can I build this team for the next 2-3 years tops? We're going to get it done, and then if we're not, we're going to blow it up.
Yes,
and the 76ers, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
If I'm the 76ers?
It's almost a fire sale. You're anticipating a fire sale with the 76ers?
I'm not anticipating a fire sale, but as a coach, Ben Simmons can't come back in my locker room. He can't. So, I mean, that's just the real life nature of what we're dealing with. So if I am the 76ers, I am on the phone with the Wizards asking about Bradley Beal. I am on the phone with Portland asking about CJ McCullough or Dame Lillard. I am asking for something. Heck, man, I'm calling Golden State and seeing if I can get Wiggins. I'll take Wiggins on the Sixers because he plays a particular role. He'll actually shoot the 3 that we can get available. So
I thought Doc Rivers would try to move to get Rondo. I thought he would, much earlier. Honestly, I thought he would. I mean, wouldn't you? They got great history together, man. But
Father Time is undefeated and untied, and we've got to get through regular season Rondo to get to playoff Rondo, and I'm too old to be messing with your bad days. So On that note, we will leave on Rondo, which I think is apropos because that's kind of how we do things. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the Odd Coaches Podcast.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at CoachesOdd, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share the Odd Coaches Podcast. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. And don't forget to follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.